Welcome to Speak Free with Matty G, the podcast that celebrates free speech, truth, and open discussion. Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Speak Free with Matty G. Very special guest on this episode, of course, Jon-Bernard Kairouz. Is that how you say?
Yeah, Kairouz. Thanks.
Kairouz.
Matty G, Matty Graham.
Yep, that's it. We're going to talk a bit today about obviously your career as a TikTok content creator, that and Instagram, how you got started, where you want to go with it, and we'll talk a little bit about some political views and we'll touch on COVID as well, because why not, eh? Why not?
As well.
It's on everyone's...
Still out and about, isn't it?
Still out and about. Still on everyone's minds, I guess, when it comes to, talking, especially when it comes to politics. So I think it's an important thing to talk about, especially with an election coming up. So I'll get your take on that. But we'll get started with, I guess, how you got started with TikTok, how it all came together. What year was it? Was it last year, that you started?
Last year. So it's probably... I think end of this month it'll probably be like a full year, so in April. I was doing I just finished uni, come back from the States, studied a bit over there in Oregon. When I came back, I was doing just some like extra work, some TV commercials. I really like low level stuff, non-speaking roles. Did like an RSPCA ad, did a couple of different ads, furniture ads. So I was really like getting comfortable doing stuff in front of a camera. And then I had one of my good mates approach me who has a production company, and it's called Nevis Group, and he wanted to do a live kind of comedy sketch show. And I was always, mucking around at school and stuff and having a laugh. So he thought I'd be a good fit for it. And I was really apprehensive to doing that because I haven't really put myself out there doing like a live show and I've always wanted to try stand up and stuff. At the time, this was maybe 2 years ago, going into 2020. And he kind of got me over the line, and a few other people that were doing it got me over the line to do it. And it was fun. We did a live show. We did in Surrey Hills. It's called The Forecast. It's like sketch comedy, similar to like a late show type thing.
Yeah, mad.
And then COVID hit, so we couldn't really do any live shows. We hadn't done a handful at that point. So we did a digital series called The Forecast. And the premise behind it is like we're predicting the news and doing sketches of predicting the news. And I was really enjoying it, and I was enjoying the reception I'd get on the sketches that I would do, and I would write them or help write them. And Jack, who's a director, would do a lot of the dialogue and stuff. So I learned a lot from doing that, just in like behind the camera stuff, how to produce, and even a little bit of editing. So that kind of pushed me into doing, creating my own Instagram page. And I had an Instagram page, but it wasn't like I was a creator or anything like that.
Yeah.
And The Forecast had a TikTok, and they were building a bit of a following. And I thought, it'd be good to make my own one and just kind of put my own stuff out as a comedian and or as a presenter. And yeah, so I did it. I remember it was probably April last year. I just sent like a group message out to all my mates or cousins. I got a lot of cousins. And I said, yeah, I'm making this page, get around it, send the stuff around, see how it goes. And I remember, just kind of been building since last April, and it's been fun. Yeah,
Matt. You touched on live shows. I've done a bit of acting as well. I did drama at high school, and then I went to NIDA. Just finished at NIDA last year.
Oh, shit.
Nothing big. Like it was a Screen Actor studio. I say nothing big. It was $4,500. Fuck me.
Yeah. Hang on, NIDA. That's not the Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, there was Mel Gibson went there. Kate Blanchett. Yeah, quite a few big names.
Gonna be in a Thorn movie or something?
Well, who knows? At the moment, I don't even have a fucking agent. So anyone out there, mate, hit me up. But yeah, there's to me there was nothing like doing a live show. Like I love on camera work and that, but doing something live is so exciting. Did you find like the same thing?
It's fun when it goes well, and it's shit when it goes badly. Like it's like when your stand-up goes up and bombs or like does an open mic. One audience will find it good, some will find it bad. But I enjoy it when it goes well and you get a good crowd. But I don't know, because I'm so used to now just filming something that's less than a minute and putting it up and just getting reception off that so quickly. I don't know. I find it easier to do recorded stuff than live. I'm more nervous going into live stuff for sure. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. At least with recording, you can sort of critique yourself. Takes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I found with acting as well. I was like, it's fun. You still get the excitement, but once you're on your fucking 5th or 6th take, you're like, fucking come on.
Yeah, it sounds repetitive. You don't know if you're saying the words right because it just sounds so weird.
Yeah. It becomes like sort of, you lose that sense of the emotion in what you're doing. Yeah. And I think it can be the same with comedy too, a little bit. But, I mean, you're killing it. Having
fun.
Yeah. Obviously, you rose to a new height of popularity during lockdown with your Predicting the COVID Numbers series, I guess, is what I'd call it, for want of a better term. But what sort of impact when that blew up, what sort of impact did that have on you on a personal level?
Nothing really changed much, really. I was just kind of riding it and having a laugh. I probably more so like going out now, I'll probably get stopped a little bit more. The COVID did predict the guy, which is funny. So that's probably the only personal thing it has. And like I didn't realise how quick people can kind of blow up from TikTok or Instagram. Like it all happened in the space of like a week or 2 weeks. So just kind of being mindful of how I present myself now when I'm out and stuff, because you don't get pulled up. We'll have a Daily Mail article on you. TikTok guy passed out in bathroom at Sydney races or something.
I know, they jump on anything, don't they? Yeah. But just to give you some idea of how, I mean, I'm sure you know, but just how popular those videos went. My dad, doesn't have Instagram, doesn't have TikTok, asked me how to use Facebook most of the time. He was coming home saying, "Oh, did you see that TikTok guy predicting COVID numbers?" Like literally talking about it to me. He'd heard about it on fucking Nova as he's driving. Oh, that's hilarious. It's like, that's how big it became. You were getting interviewed on, I think, Sunrise and that as well, weren't you?
Shows, which was funny, yeah.
Yeah. It must be, that's it. It would be such a laugh. But I guess from there, a lot of people, especially with TikTok, we see a lot of people with viral videos that get, 200, 300, 400,000 views, possibly millions of views. And then you look at their content after and it seems to, no one's really watching it. It fizzles off. You sort of kept it going, and that longevity has lasted, almost a year now. How do you go about that? What's your process in planning things, I guess?
I don't know. Well, I was doing videos, in the lead up to that, because I think it kind of popped off in like July or back end of July. So as in the numbers, and that obviously the following increased heavily. It was funny. People wanted to tune into the numbers. We're doing it in a kind of creative way. And it was just fun. So, but before that, I was doing sketches. I was doing, different type of series, like tour series, or taking the piss out of really kind of like sarcastic type stuff. And then even post the numbers, I was obviously going to have a drop off because I wasn't doing the numbers so frequently or whatever. But and people that were just going there to tune into the numbers were going to drop off. And that wasn't stupid, that was going to happen, but I was just going to keep consistent. I think consistency is probably the best thing. I try and put out a video once a day, once every 2 days, which can be draining, but it's more of a challenge and it's fun. So I'd say, it's consistency. I don't really have like a process of how it would be funny. I kind of just, between me and my brothers, would think, could we do this? Could we do this?
Yeah.
And if it's funny or... and we have like those series type things. Like I said, we'll do a tour, we'll do an interview with someone, and try and make it as funny as we can. But I think, if I could say there was a drop off, probably for a couple of months, especially after, going to that protest and being offside with a few people and the media. So, but again, didn't really faze me. I was just going to keep consistent, having fun. And, I went to America, did some content over there, and I just continue to kind of mix it up. I'll try different sketches. Like me and my brother just did like a Seinfeld type sketch, which we've seen a few people do online, wanted to try ourselves. So I think it's like mixing it up and also doing what's worked and doubling down on it. And if you enjoy it, keep doing it.
Yeah, and you touched on the protest there. I've talked about it on the podcast before that I was there as well.
Okay, yeah.
but it was crazy to me, and we won't talk too much about this, but it was crazy to me, even, you know, I'm not as, you know, popular as you, but the amount of followers that I lost and the messages that I was getting, I couldn't imagine what it was like for you. But like coming home from that protest, and I talked about it with another guest of mine, Natasha, on here. She was there too. And best day there. I really enjoyed it. It was such a good vibe. And coming home, that vibe completely changed, and you saw sort of how powerful, I guess, the mainstream media is in twisting people, and sort of twisting their opinion. Like, I put up a photo of a sign I was taking in, which it was the first protest I've ever been to, by the way.
I've never, the first one I've ever been to.
Yeah, and that's for any issue. Like, I'm for protesting. I've just never gone to one before, but I put up a sign, and the same people who were going, yeah, give him hell, 2 days later were
backflipping.
Backflipping on me hard. And so I guess my question to you in regards to that was like, did you think, fuck, this is bad, or did you think this will blow over?
It's funny because like now there's been so many protests since, and that seems so like small in the grand scheme of everything that's happened in the last 2 years. But at the time, everyone was so like emotionally like very high. But no, I didn't realise at the time it was going to be that much of a big deal or backlash, because there'd been protests before that. Yeah, that didn't really get any media attention like that. And when I was there, it wasn't violent. It wasn't, you know, it was just kind of like normal people just that were really unhappy with how things were, or being locked down. So, and that's really all it was. It was a lockdown protest at the time. And yeah, I thought it was, like you said, it was a fun day. You know, I was coming back on the back of doing all the press and morning shows and doing the numbers. So people were coming up saying hello, taking photos, which was new to me at the time. Yeah. And so I was enjoying it. I was wearing a Stone Cold vest. I was with my brother and a couple of mates, and yeah, I thought it was at the time it was very like, you know, meeting nice people, and yeah, didn't really think it was going to blow out of proportion like that. And then when, like I said, I got home, I was getting bombarded on social media. Yeah. It was news articles straight away, and then yeah, it was just like all of a sudden people coming at you, which was new to me, so it kind of shook me at first. But then now it's happened a couple of times. I don't really care. Like it doesn't really faze me as much. I don't really read too many, you know, negative comments or DMs and stuff like that, because it doesn't really faze us. Some of them make me laugh, so I'll do like a mean tweets one if they get me good. Like, but apart from that, yeah. So I was really like surprised at how big the backlash was, but I think it was because of that push from the media, and it wasn't just. I was new in terms of like a social media person at the time, or like someone that was doing like comedy online that was getting a bit of a spotlight the week before. So I think they came down a bit harder on me and whoever else had a kind of bigger following at the protest. They had sending news crews to the houses. 100%.
I was just going to say that actually, like the people that I saw that were either fined or, you know, got a court order or whatever it may be, were all people that I followed, but that had a following that went to it. And I just think that's
a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence at all. And, you know, you go there, they're trying to put be the tough guy basically, and put their foot down and say, no, we're doing something about this. But really they're not. They're picking out a handful of people that are well known, and they're making it out that they're fining everyone. I went there, people know I went there, people that don't like me know I went there, and I didn't cop a fucking fine. You know what I mean? So
the majority didn't, I think. Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because I'm really, apart from like, I still have to go to court for it. They've been pushing it back. There's never been like I've got a lawyer sorting it out, but it's just like nothing's really, there's never been repercussions from it. I think there's a news article that came out, news.com, great source for news, but they put out that in Victoria, like 80% of people haven't paid their fines, not just from protesting, but from just COVID fines in general.
Yeah, so, mask wearing. And
wearing and that. So, you know, now 2 years with hindsight, I think, you know, a lot of people in government are saying, you know, we probably shouldn't even go after finding people during a pandemic. So I think eventually it will get thrown out. Like, I mean, I haven't paid anything. I haven't really had any repercussions. I was able to travel, you know, so it hasn't really affected me that much.
Yeah. And really at the end of the day, it was a fucking media beat up. And in my opinion,
I think more people have seen that now anyway. And it's like, it's such a small issue. Like, yes, no one wants to get locked down. And I think it's come out since that they didn't really work anyway. So,
yeah.
I mean, you could still put me in, you know, as a cancelled person for going to a protest. But, I mean, I'm not really phased. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I keep having fun. But, like I said, it was really, like, coordinated. I remember when that weekend of it, the back end, I think it was a Sunday, I went to the park with a few mates, kicked the footy around. I think we were allowed to at the time before we now LGAs.
Yeah.
But, and I was coming back home and I got a message from my brothers like, oh, there's police here waiting for you and there's cameras. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. And so I walked around the corner. I think this video was online and I made sure my brother was filming and he was trying to get in the way of the news cameras out there. So it was like, there was police serving and then there was news cameras there just waiting. Like, they were like,
actually, I think did this get put online?
Yeah.
I did see
and
this
my
actually.
My brother's standing in front of the news cameras, just giving him a hard time, and he's got these news people trying to push him along, and he's going, "Listen, love, don't touch me like that." And they weren't going to move him if you seen the side of him. But it was just funny how it was all kind of coordinated.
It's pretty scary to me, I think, that the police will coordinate with the media. And give you it was at your home, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they've given your address out to the media here. You know, there's nothing to stop the media from reporting on that. You know, if they're dodgy journalists, they might report on that. People who fucking hate you. You know, this is how, you know, we get places vandalized and things like that. I think if, you know, it's interesting you say that. This is strictly my opinion, not your. It could be yours, but I just think that's a fucking duty of care issue and negligence by New South Wales Police.
I wasn't really fazed by it. It was more that because it was coming off the back end of doing the numbers and stuff. It was more like, okay, this is getting a bit out of hand.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like even now, I don't harp on it too much. It's getting sorted out, but it's more like I just put funny videos up online.
Yeah.
I'm not like a criminal or anything like that, or even, like I said, it was my first protest, and I was going because I was supporting mates and some family. But, you know, I don't really like to get too political, even in my videos, because you don't want to alienate people. And at the end of the day, I'm just taking the piss, whatever side you're on. So they try to paint me in like a... he's a, you know...
He's this anti-vaxxer.
This ideology type of... I'm not really labelled. But, yeah, that's what kind of... Like, for the months, like, post the protest, I was getting visits from the police at my house, you know, every couple of days. And I remember made sure to record them if I was ever going to use them. I didn't want to... I don't think it's fun in just creating content that's dividing people. It's more fun... For me, that's putting a person that's just making funny videos online to poke how stupid things are. Like whether it be rules or, you know, like no browsing rules that they had in, or just stuff like that. So that's what I was trying to push out of it. I wasn't going to make a big deal out of it, and more so just going to say, look, don't treat me like a terrorist or anything. I'll just put funny videos up online. You don't have to keep coming to the house and stuff. It's... You know, so that was my kind of point of view on it.
And I guess with comedy, it has been the one thing that's actually united people, I think, during this time. For me, there's never been a divide like this in the country that I've seen.
It's settled down a bit, though.
It has settled down now, 100%. But especially during that time, July last year,
sure.
it was the most fucked I've ever seen it. I would compare it to probably like Trump-Hillary. 2016, you know, for an Australian sort of, but I guess, like, you know, you get people like Jimmy Rees and that poke fun at the things that pretty much 99% find a little bit ridiculous on some level, and I think that has helped sort of unite people a bit with this whole
I think at the time
thing.
You couldn't not make any content that wasn't about COVID because that was all that was there.
Yeah.
Like guys like Sushi Mango or Neil Cole-Hactor, people I follow, I quite enjoy watching. Everyone's, if you're a comedian, Blake Pavey, all the content was around politics and COVID, and even myself, because that was all that was in the news. It was all that you were being affected by, like. So there wasn't really much on. It wasn't like you had a Will Smith slapping someone during July last year. So, so that was why I think it was so high, because it was all anyone was ever talking about. But now that everything's settled down and there's less rules, there's other things happening on, there's wars on, there's things happening in entertainment now. So I feel like, the division's kind of quieting down a bit and we can all kind of get on. Yeah. Because I remember around that time I had... mates that kind of wrote me off because I went there as well, which was sad. But I mean, it is kind of what it is. That was that period of time where everyone was kind of, you're on this side, you're on this side, which is stupid because you should be able to just chat about it.
100%.
The whole point is.
That's the reason I did this. I was copying, a lot of, either hate, and I would try and come up people with just understanding, like, let's just have a conversation. But there was so much anger at the time on both sides that people were struggling to have those conversations. So that was the point of the podcast at first, and it's kind of turned into more of a just come on and chat, let's talk some shit. But we'll get away from the COVID stuff for a bit, and we'll talk about sort of your content now. The ones that my favorite content of yours is your interviews that you do. I think it's fucking hilarious. What sort of is the moment where you'll see something and you go, all right, I need to do this?
It depends if it's relevant. I like doing interviews when they're topical, particularly like you're talking about the like fake ones. With
like Will Smith or Ash Barty.
If they're in the news, like Ash Barty retiring or Will Smith recently. ScoMo's an easy one. If you did like a decent 60 Minutes one, around that kind of start of that Russia-Ukraine thing. So a big thing for me for interviews is if it's topical. I mean, I learned how to cut them up by doing the stuff I was doing before. I was doing Instagram and TikToks and stuff. So when I was working with the Forecast and doing stuff with Jack at Nevis, so he kind of taught me how to Ultra Key and use Premiere Pro and green screen and stuff. So my editing isn't like at a great level, but it's like enough for TikTok and Instagram.
I think it's a pretty good level, to be honest, compared to what most people put online.
So they're always fun to do. It's probably like challenging finding the interviews to use or the clips to use, but this makes it more fun. So I like doing the interviews. I don't smash them out as much, but I do kind of wait for something to come up if it's topical. But if I find something funny, I'll do it. It started with me doing a Cardi B one. Was that your first video?
That
was not first video, but it was my first interview that I did. And that was with the Forecast, and that was fun. Like just deconstructing her lyrics for WAP. And just taking that very seriously and fake interviewing her. So that kind of started that concept, and it works. And I think I kind of got like a formula on how to do them and do them within a certain time frame. And they're fun to do. They do well on TikTok.
I think it's because you play it so straight. I think that's obviously where the comedy lies in it, is that it's so fucking funny. Like the Ash Barty one, like just how straight you play it. And it's, to me, like, I just think content like that is, I love that sort of comedy. You know what I mean?
It's more like, not dry, but it's just like you said, straightforward. I play that kind of like presenter, normal interviewer asking serious questions. And other stuff I like doing is the news updates that I do with the Barbecue Bulletin. They're fun to do because he's like a satire comedy page taking the piss out of news. So I just do like a news update. I do a Data's Take, which is like I get my grandmother's opinion on stuff. So I just kind of diversify and do different things that work sometimes. Not everything's going to work, and but just have a laugh and just put it out there, see what works. I think I like doing in-person interviews as well. I've done that with like Olin Tekers and a couple of other creators online. So they're fun to do. That's like a between two ferns type thing. Again, it's like dry humour. Asking serious questions or like pushing the envelope type questions. So I think I kind of got that presenter type feel.
Yeah. And do you get a good response when you go out, say, to a footy game and you're filming there and that? Does everyone want to chat to you?
I don't like going everywhere and just like, could I film something here? Like if I go somewhere, I'll go, okay, I'm going to film something here, and then I'll go out and enjoy it. But yeah, especially like the younger crowd, I find get around me, especially when I'm out. Like if I went to the Tigers game the other day, I'll take a few photos, or people ask me to do an interview with them. So it makes my job easier if I'm doing like a comparison or like getting interviews with people, because people will come up and ask for an interview, which is cool.
Yeah.
As opposed to when I was starting out, it was like trying to get people over the line for an interview to be. Because if I was out and someone asked me to do an interview for TikTok and Instagram, I'd probably say no, especially if I was in a bad state, if I was pissed.
Yeah, I'd probably say yes if I was pissed.
Yeah, that makes it easier, yeah, for sure. But I'd be a bit more self-conscious about how it look. But it makes it a bit easier. The reception over the last few months has definitely been a lot better and more fun.
Yeah, I did love the Why the Tigers So Shit video.
See, that was just off their cuff because we were doing a comparison between like American football versus rugby league, and then my brother was like, you know what, just do a video with the Tigers fans while you're here. I was like, yeah, okay, as well. So just ask a few questions about the Tigers. I feel sorry for them because
I'm a Tigers fan.
Tough.
Oh, they're fucking woeful.
All they need is a couple of wins and maybe they'll have the pressure released off them. But
there's a lot of issues there at that club, man. But yeah, they're fucking hard to support. I'll tell you.
Watch. And they've got a bad run coming up.
Who do you support?
The Bulldogs.
Yeah, of course.
Just as tough.
The
last couple of years. But
they'll come good. Yeah,
they will eventually.
You've fought well.
Next year, probably best team I'll have in a while.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I think they'll go well. Sort of where do you see yourself going with your content creation? Do you see you staying on mostly on TikTok? Do you want to do more acting? Where do you?
I'm kind of open to most things. Like I don't mind working with brands. It's a bit restrictive, but there's always stuff to do with brands, especially if they give you the reins to do stuff. I was working in marketing full time up until recently. That I've taken a job working in content full time with a company. So that's kind of like me doing the videos has allowed me to do stuff like that. Which is pretty awesome and it's fun. But yeah, I see myself working with different companies or just building up my own brand as a comedian, as a presenter. And I've got my podcast now called The B Team, which is kind of we cover sports and entertainment from
it's good watch.
League, AFL, wrestling, WWE, so stuff that we enjoy. So kind of just building up experience as a presenter, MC weddings, MC events. So yeah, just kind of building a resume and like I said, just being consistent, because it's easy to say I can take a break and just relax and focus on work and stuff, but put the pressure on yourself to create stuff every week, every day, and I think good things will just flow through in terms of opportunities and stuff. I always enjoy collaborating with people. Like I hadn't met you prior to doing this, but if I was starting a podcast, and I know you've done more than 19, 20 episodes, but like I've just kind of started mine, and I would love to get guests on. So I'm always open to doing other people's podcasts, and just saying yes to opportunities or collaborating with people. I did a video with, like I said, Olin Techers or other creators. Ted Stetics, who's awesome. He's in Melbourne. Because the more you kind of do it, the more you have fun doing it, and it's you just work towards your goals of getting into entertainment and presenting and comedy and
100%. Like and I feel like the more you say yes to opportunities, the more people you meet. Like my mate was even just talking to me the other day. He's very he gets paid a lot of money for his photography business. He does big weddings and big events and does a lot of live music events. And he's like, yeah, I just started doing it. And then next minute he was going on tour with bands and stuff, and being their tour photographer. And he's like, and you just meet people. And it's all about connections. And I think that's really big in any sort of media industry, whether it be, journalism or content creation or comedy or acting, anything. That the more you put yourself out there and meet people, I think the better off you'll be.
The better you get at it. Like if you go back and watch my first TikTok, I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to just kind of figure it out. And now I kind of understand what watch time to look for, or what where punchline should be in the space of time, because like you just get used to what works well and what doesn't. So just with time, if you really enjoy doing something, you just do it all the time. You're eventually going to get better at it, meet new people, and go where you want to go.
Yeah. One question that I was driving here today and I was thinking about it, because I think about this a little bit with myself, is the persona you put out to the world, right? Whether it be on your TikTok or with me, with my podcast and that. I try to keep it as real as I can, like in terms of but that's the platform I have. Whereas yours is comedy. Obviously, you know, you're not going to show the full you, but do you try and be as real as you can and show a representation of the real you on social media?
I mean, it pretty much is me. Probably like just turned up a little bit more. Like if you see me out, I'm more kind of subdued, not always on. You know, like
yeah.
But I do. It kind of is how I am, just kind of taking the piss out of most things.
Yeah.
And just having a laugh where I can, but I'm not that guy all the time, you know. But the interviews and just like especially public interviews, I'm not trying to catch people out all the time, or just G people up all the time, or do a prank here and there.
Yeah.
It is like kind of stuff that I've done in the past that I can get away with and have a laugh with, but just turned up to 10 online. But I think like if you watch my stuff, you'll get a gist of like who I am and how I kind of view things. So especially with like the news updates and stuff, which is obviously like just reading out a lot of the satire articles, but I find them funny.
Yeah.
So I'll read them out and try and deliver it in like a news broadcaster thing. But you know that's my kind of humour, that sarcastic, satirical type stuff. So it is kind of an extension of me, which is funny.
Yeah. And you touched on satire. I think there's been such a rise in satire with the last probably 2 years with everything going on. But before that too, we had great shows like Veep and, Veep
was good.
Yeah, fantastic. And that satire has, it's come back in a big way. Do you see a big future for that? Like there's, obviously Batuta Advocate and things like that has grown so significantly on social media. Do you think with the rise of social media continuing, with the rise of TikTok, do you think satire is also going to continue to rise?
Batuta's already massive, and they're probably like the Australian standard of satire news.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's I think with the rise of TikTok and even Instagram putting out reels, and I think even LinkedIn's jumping on some creative type stuff. So everyone's getting on the videos. But yeah, with the rise in like people being able to reach so many people now, organic reach, there's so much opportunity for people to do their own thing, and like there's like the Barbecue Bulletin have their own take. It's like a Batuta, but it's obviously more conservative, or like serves a different audience. Where Batuta is kind of centered, but they lean a bit more left.
Yeah.
But they're still hilarious. They're probably, like I said, they're the standard for. But the Babylon Bees over in America, they're a similar thing. But
yeah, they're fantastic.
There's more opportunity for people to do their own stuff.
Yeah. I guess with, we're in April now. There will be an election in May. Do you think you'll do much content based around the election? I'm sure there will be a lot of gotcha moments, recorded for both Albanese and Morrison, as there already has been. But
yeah, I'm sure there'll be some fake interviews and some fake press conference stuff in there that I've done in the past. But if there's something comes up and it's funny, or I can make something out of it, yeah, for sure. I'm not going to not shy away from it. I've done like ScoMo interviews and, Joe Biden interviews and whatever before. So politics is fun because it's easy to make fun of. Someone's always getting caught in a lie. Like a video I put out recently was like flood maths and who's calculating the numbers for these floods. It's like started with this is a 1 in 50 event, and then it went to 1 in 100 year, 1 in 500 year, and then Barnaby Joyce comes out and says, this is 1 in 3,500 years. Like, where are they getting these numbers? Who's calculating it?
Yeah, I'm from the Hawkesbury. It's flooded twice in fucking 1 month.
Yeah, we've been copping the floods here too. I mean, Yeah, so just stuff like that. If it's funny, I'm not going to put something out that's not funny. I'm just not going to, do election content for the sake of doing it. But yeah, they called it. So what is it, May 21st, I think?
Oh, did they call it today, did they?
They called it early in the week, I think.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't even see that. But I know it's in May. It's usually a 6-week 6-week
Yeah, it'd be funny to
campaign.
see him on the campaign trail. I don't know who's going to win because I feel like...
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Most people don't like any of these blokes.
Yeah, it is. I feel like, and a lot of people say, "Oh well, fucking, I'll vote the lesser of two evils," but you don't have to. You can vote fucking none of them. Like you can vote for minor parties.
I done a podcast recently where I said, "Yeah, I don't vote," and which people will say is stupid. But I put that out, or they put that out, and then within a couple of weeks of them putting that out, I got a letter from the electoral things hang up. You've been fined. So never happened before. And then once that was out on TikTok, I copped that fine.
Wow, the government is watching you. They are watching you.
It was funny. I don't know, because I'd never received anything like that before for not voting. But I'm still going to not vote. And you can sort of see what happens.
Just go get your name marked off at least.
Like I don't really, like I said, I don't pay too much attention to politics. If I see a funny video on social media when I say I don't pay attention to it, I don't devote attention to arguments and stuff because I think it's all pointless at the end of the day, and I just try and find ways to have a laugh with it. I feel like you said, usually a lot of the time it's just like lesser of two evils. That's what it is in the States.
Yeah.
Here it's like, I don't really care for any of the blokes that we have to vote for, and there's other parties too, but they don't really have much influence on policy, I don't think so.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I just make funny videos, and if I do hope who wins is a person I could take the piss out of the most. Yeah. So ScoMo's been pretty good at that recently, so I don't know much about Albanese, and I don't think a lot of people even know who he is anyway. So
yeah, well, I mean, in terms of popularity, even if it's hated popularity, ScoMo is definitely winning that ball game, I think. But I don't know. He's done a lot of shit.
People are saying that, even though he's like, if you probably called the election a few months ago, said 100% ScoMo's losing, especially like floods, and he was just copping it all through like all the restrictions and stuff. But now he's like printing money like no tomorrow. I feel like he probably end up winning again.
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. So, hand out $1,000 to everyone affected by floods, or to people who claim it anyway and weren't affected by floods, but, which happens,
Especially in Bankstown.
My nan just claimed it as well, and that for Granville. I'm like, bro, your house didn't even fucking flood.
And she got the 1,000?
Yeah.
Good on her.
Yeah, fucking shouldn't say this too much. She's going to call a fucking investigation now. Government will come knocking.
Yeah, jeez.
But I think I don't know, man. Like ScoMo, to me, I don't think anyone else would survive it if it was anyone else. Things that have happened, whether it be the Grace Tame situation, the what's her name?
That was awkward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just shake the bloke's hand.
Yeah, I don't know. I met Scott Morrison recently.
Have you met him?
Yeah, I got invited to. No, I got invited to an event. I had Sarah Richards, our local, not local MP. She's our Liberal candidate.
Okay.
So she ran in the last 2019, and she's running this year again. She just narrowly lost. But I had her on, and then she invited me to an event of her endorsement. So ScoMo came out to Windsor, and I met him, and he was nice enough, but just such a politician, such a bullshit artist. That's my opinion on him. I just looked at him, and it was like dead eyes. You know what I mean? Yeah. There was no real engagement.
Man, you just shake the hand, say hello to everyone.
Exactly. Who am I talking to again?
Have Gary behind you.
Yeah, that's what Sarah was doing. She's like, "This is Matt. He's got a podcast."
Okay, there you go. So, I don't know. It's who knows who's going to end up winning, but it's. I think majority of politicians will probably be like that. So
yeah. I don't know. I won't be voting for either major party, and I don't think I ever will again. So I voted for Scott Morrison in 2019, only because I really didn't want fucking Shorten. But I don't know. I've felt sort of let down by the way the government sort of ran the past, especially 2 years for me anyway. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. So,
For sure.
but enough about politics. Let's talk about upcoming, sort of upcoming content that you have planned. If you can give people a bit of a teaser, anything that you've got, and how long do you plan for before you put out?
I don't really plan that much. I maybe at the start of a week, I'll think like kind of see what the week's looking like, and if I can interview someone or what's happening in the news. And now that I'm doing the podcast, try and put my personality on that, the B team, I can put some clips up online, which helps like with the consistency and stuff. I've been working my brothers into the content as well, so doing like some sketches and doing a couple of advertising stuff with brands, a betting agency. So just having fun, man. I'll probably be, like I said, just stay consistent with the stuff that I've been enjoying doing. So interviews, and been trying my hand more in stand-up as well. So probably see some stand-up clips happening, and more MCing type stuff. And just, in general, getting into more presenting and, just being consistent with what you've been seeing recently. I'll mix it up here and there, but... you'll be seeing whatever's in the news. I'll be definitely on top of it.
Yeah. And what do you sort of, I guess going back to when you started, or I guess sort of started getting, a bit of popularity with it, and it sort of started to get on a roll. Did your sort of goals for your life goals, did they shift at all?
Not much. I remember before I was doing, the TikToks and Instagrams, kind of maintained similar goals. I mean, still working full time, which is cool. Eventually, I'd want to be doing this full time, like in terms of as a content creator, but just as my own personal brand of being a comedian. So whether it's doing stand-up tours or, I think I eventually kind of imagined me doing a tour with Ted Stetics across the country down the line. Obviously, you have to build up the equity with a fan base and stuff, but I feel like I'm on my way to doing stuff like that, and getting into more not media, because I feel like everyone's kind of tuned out of mainstream television unless you watch one of those trash reality TV shows, which I can't sit through, but everything's kind of on subscription services, Netflix, and your own channel now is your own TV show. So I don't know, it's not a gold one, but eventually being in entertainment, having like my own late night show or something like that. I look at Pat McAfee overseas, who's a commentator in WWE, but runs his own show, the Pat McAfee Show, which is sports entertainment. So I think that's where I'll eventually be. Just, being consistent, and with time I'll eventually get there. So goals haven't really shifted. It's more just what can I be doing to have fun.
Yeah. And that's cool, man. I have sort of similar goals, I guess, in terms
Did
of...
it shift over the last 2 years?
For me, not really. Like, I did journalism at uni, and I imagined when I was doing journalism, I imagined myself in a mainstream media role. What has really shifted for me is the fact that I've realized, fuck that, is basically what I see the future of the media being things like this, like Joe
digital.
Rogan, like, and having conversations. And I think people really are after, they'd rather watch a 3-hour conversation and get to know fucking everything about a topic than see a 20-second clip on 7 News about something and get a twisted narrative pushing an agenda, rather than just having a conversation. That's why I can't understand the hate for Joe Rogan. I really can't. I don't know what your opinion on that is, but for me, he's just conversing with people. Like, that's all it is to me. Yeah.
I mean, he's going against the not narrative, but just like, him bringing on someone that is cancelled is a threat.
Yeah.
There's millions of people are listening to it. I think that's what everyone...
Yeah.
Well, not everyone, what the mainstream don't really like about him. But, I mean, I'm sure there's good people and good journalists or good entertainers in the construct of the mainstream, but they're probably just limited to their networks and stuff like that. But, I mean, I don't watch much TV anymore, but it's like I said, I'm sure there's good people. I remember I was out one time and someone's come up to me, he's like, oh, you know, I work at the Daily Mail. And I was like, oh, why don't you take it easy on me? I said, jokingly, I said, he was, oh, you know, we're not all clickbaity and type people. There's a few of us that, you know, really enjoy his stuff, so which I thought was nice. So there are people in those environments that probably need to have a similar thought and this is where, or have a difference of opinion that isn't the one that's pushed out. But yeah, I agree. I think that's where everything's going, is a more digital landscape and
same with TV as well. Everything's streaming.
Yeah, TV will probably eventually go that route and say, okay, well, our numbers aren't doing too well. Let's start seeing what's going on over here, emulate that, or get these people on. Yeah. But I think there's probably just more freedom doing your own thing.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's just probably not enough notoriety because there's still that thought of if you're on TV, then that's a big deal.
Yeah, you've made it.
There's still people trying to get on maths and Bachelor and stuff.
I don't know why.
For the blue tick. That's the way things are going. But if you look at the landscape in the US, it's, you know, Barstool's massive and they're all just social media and built online. And, so, you know, within 5-10 years, I don't think there'll be much on mainstream, or the whole dynamic will change. Yeah,
I agree. We're definitely in that next sort of, I guess, phase of you know, technology and media. Is going into that streaming sort of platform. Everything's streaming now. All mainstream has streaming as well now, like 7plus, 9 now, all that shit. So I think, everywhere's heading there. And most mainstream news companies are doing podcasts and shit as well too now, you know, try and keep up. So
podcasting has had like a second wind. Everyone's fucking...
Oh, it's fucking crazy. It's so oversaturated. It's fucking,
Yeah, but it is good. Like now more people, like if you have built up your own following, like, you know, you do podcasting because it's an easier way to people want to tune into more of what you're doing, and that's another way to kind of build up. But like on Rogan, I don't mind him. I think he's quite funny. I think he's the funniest comedian. I actually saw him live once at the Comedy Store in LA.
Oh, really?
Callan and a few other people.
Yeah, shit, that would have been good.
But I enjoy his stuff when I like the guests that he has on. Like I'll watch the whole Kanye interview he did, or if I watched the whole Mr. Beast one he did the other day. But it just kind of depends on the guest. Like,
and I think that's sort of where I lay with mine as well. Like I loved Rogan as a you know, him as a person. Not that I know him, but I like him. Like I like his style. I think he's cool. I think his opinions are cool. I think he talks really well and he's a good listener, which is important for a podcaster. But
I think he sits on a fence a fair bit, which isn't his, like, he doesn't have to have an opinion, but like depending on the guest, he caters.
He definitely does cater to them a bit. And a lot of them are people he already agrees with that he has on there.
I've been seeing clips of like Tim Dillon come up on my TikTok and stuff and Instagram. I think he's quite funny, and he has a fair few diverse guests on. And he's had like Logan Paul on, then he'll have Candace Owens on, like and he's doing an Australian tour coming up, so it should be cool to see him floating around. But like you said, everyone's kind of building up their own brand, having their own podcast. It's like an extension of themselves.
Well, I agree. I would definitely see that as this, you know, is an extension of me. I guess it's a big extension of me, to be honest. It's a fucking hour every week, so people, you know, get to. I don't hide anything too. I don't censor myself. I don't give a fuck. I was just talking, like, I talked way too openly. Like even my parents are finding out shit about me they didn't know.
At least they're tuning in.
Well, exactly. Thanks, mum and dad. Keep watching.
Support us. My dad loves my stuff too. He's always scrolling through the TikTok and be like, give me criticism, like, this one didn't do too well. Fuck, you know. Thanks, Dad.
No, that's cool, man, that your family supported, because I guess, you know, a lot of, especially we're in that weird generation, I feel that you know, you've sort of got parents who are a bit younger and they're right into it, and then you've got parents that are a bit older. Like my parents are in their, I think my dad's late 50s, mum's mid 50s, and they don't use Instagram or TikTok or anything. So I try and show them stuff and they just don't get it. Like a lot of the stuff, not your stuff, they fucking love that shit. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I find like funny as well, I'll show them and they just fucking don't get it. And I'm like, it's weird, man, because I'll show that to someone my age or even like in their 30s, you know, or early 40s, and they'll fucking find it hilarious. So
no, that's why I don't think, like, how can fucking cryptocurrency take off if my old man, not my, like my parents are pretty savvy with the tech, but like I know heaps of other people. Like my grandmother, for example, how's she gonna deposit Bitcoin into an exchange? She doesn't know what the fuck. How is there going to be mass adoption if it's not a credit card or cash? Because cash is kind of gone, but that's what I mean. Like there's technology adoption, but like I said, it's tough.
Yeah, well, I live with my nan during the week just to be close to work, and mate, she doesn't even know. We've got this mobile phone, and she does not even know how to use that. And I'm like, it's literally you just press the numbers and hit call. Like it's too much for her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, we're in that definitely a we generation where we've sort of grown up with it. The younger kids now are even fucking worse. They've grown up with tablets in their face from since they were fucking 2. You know.
I always wonder if it will go back, like if we'll cancel.
Yeah, cancel technology
and just go back to playing footy. Or something.
Yeah.
You know, like,
well, that's what
maybe eventually.
I think that's what I'm thankful for. I'm 24. So I sort of grew up in a time where, as a kid, that's all you did was out playing footy and that. Yeah. And then throughout the teenage years was when phones and shit started to come in. Like I don't think I had an iPhone until I was in like year 9 or something. Yeah. Before that, it was like a Nokia. You know. Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. We've and now even a few years, like people that were in high school when I was in year 12, starting year 7 or something, that I'll see out now at the pub, you know what I mean? Shit. Local pub, and it's like they've fucking grown up with, like they had Snapchat in fucking year 5, you know what I mean? That was like a year 10 thing for me, and it's just weird.
TikTok and
kids
YouTube's massive. Like, as their entertainment. It's like they don't worry about watching Kalen Ponga.
Yeah.
On Friday nights, they're just watching KSI on YouTube.
Yeah. My little cousin's like that actually. He literally plays video games and watches streams of the video game at the same time.
I've got a cousin like that too. But I'm same age as you, and I just grew up living for playing footy on the weekends or playing sport. And like I said, the same thing. I didn't get a phone. I wasn't allowed to have social media until I was in like year 7, year 8. Yeah. Or like year 8, and then got my first iPhone similar time, and it was like really not strict parents in a way, but it was kind of for the better because all I cared about was playing footy at the time, and and you didn't feel like you were missing out at the time. Exactly. But now, like I got a younger brother and younger cousins, it's like they didn't care about sport or nothing. Just care about,
and if they didn't have that phone or tablet in front of them,
phones and they got big FOMO if they're missing out on something. So it's the way of the world.
It is. It's bad. Hey, like it's this comparison to each other, and I think we've talked a lot about the good stuff of social media today with TikTok and that, and I find TikTok fucking. It's so good. It's so good. Like
easy to get addicted, but
yeah, it is. You can go spend hours on that shit, especially because it fucking goes to the next video and doesn't run out. Like there's fucking so much content on there. You can see, like, you just keep seeing new shit. But I think there's a lot of, especially I think with kids is the main thing. Adults can handle it a bit better, but kids growing up, that comparison, it's surely got to have a fucking negative effect.
Yeah, there's that saying that. Will we view it like how we view smoking cigarettes down the line? Yeah. Probably, like maybe, because it is, like I sometimes have to limit my scrolling and shit because it's like my screen time's terrible. And that's because I'm trying to like see what's trending, what are people talking about, what can I do? Yeah. From that lens, but it is like it's addictive, and it's probably harmful when you think about it. Especially to kids, but I guess we'll see. It's probably on the parenting too. Like, make sure you're limiting that shit. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of parents see. Not to put shit. Being a parent is hard. I'm not a parent. My brother's just had a kid, and it's fucking hard from what I see. But I think it becomes a bit of a problem when to shut them up, you're sticking a tablet in front of their face 24/7. Like I just see that as a bit of an issue, especially once they get older. You should be encouraging kids to get outside and go kick the ball around and, I know, but that's when I was swinging when we had to pop out some kids and it was
Yeah.
We'll switch around, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I hope so anyway. Yeah, I mean, Corduroy came back, so...
Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed.
Maybe footy can too. I guess we'll finish on 2 questions for you. Mad Yeezys, by the way. Yeah, they look fresh. I don't know if the camera can...
Crep shop.
Don't know if the camera can catch them. I think it can, but yeah, they're mad. But what's the... In your opinion, what's the worst part... yeah, we'll finish on the positive. What's the worst part about content creation, whether it be just, trying to find content or whatever?
Yeah, there's times where you like hit a wall and you're like, I got nothing to put up. What can I think of? Or you hit like a writing struggle or an idea. You can't come up with an idea, which everyone would come up with that's trying to be creative, or in comedy or whatever. So I find those the hardest. I had to get over that. Or you have like a slump where your videos aren't doing too well, and you think, is it what I'm doing? Is it not working anymore? So there's a lot of like doubting, but I find like the best way to get over that is just consistency. But that's probably one of the worst things. Like, people might say, the comments, or negative comments, or DMs you receive, but like I actually don't mind that because I know it kind of comes with it, and it doesn't happen too often too. Like, people think it happens more often than it does, but even when I'm out, people are like, oh, do you cop it when you go out? No, like no one. No, I don't think anyone really has balls to confront people in public. Yeah,
you're a pretty big cunt too.
And also it's like, I think people are more positive when we go out because, people are more comfortable coming up to you and saying hello in a positive light than people coming up to you in a negative way. I've had it like once or twice, but not often. So, yeah, I'd say definitely being consistent is the hardest part.
Yeah. And what do you think has been the most rewarding part of creating TikTok, doing comedy, sort of your career so far?
I think it's more so like, because before I was doing this, I just wanted to play footy. So I played under 20s at Manly. My dad played rugby league. He played first grade at Manly and played a handful of first grade games at the Roosters. So all I wanted to do was play footy and be like my old man. So I think when I was playing footy, I didn't have the right mindset of consistency, and I was just happy to be there and doing the minimum to kind of like, I'm here. And but now I've realised, like, if I really want something or want to put my mind towards something, goals or like comedy, a career in comedy or content creating, I have to be consistent, and it's cool because I really enjoy it. As if I want to make it my career, and I do. So I would just say what I've learned is that if I adopted that mindset to playing footy, I may well could have been playing footy. I would have struggled with the height, and stuff, and being a hooker. But I think, it's really more mindset, and if you can just do the work and stay consistent, then you'll eventually get rewarded for it. I got mates that are in other careers and have a similar mindset, and it's paying off for them that in different industries. But like just the consistency, man. And I've spoken to about it with other creators as well. Teddy, for example, is just like head down, enjoy what you're doing and have fun with it, and be consistent. And so that's what I would say. Yeah, being consistent.
Yeah, sweet. And lastly, talk me through sort of, everyone sort of talks about the dopamine you get from social media and whatnot. Does that happen with you? Say a video blows up, right?
Yeah.
Do you get that feeling like, fuck yeah?
Yeah, early on when you just started out and you're going for those videos to kick off, at the start you're putting out stuff that's like, hopefully this works and this is my stuff and I hope people find it funny, and it works. And it does work, and then you put out other stuff where it's like, oh, it's funny, but it's not like unbelievably funny, and it's like, but it does views. And it's like, do you find yourself chasing the views and engagement, or do you want to put out what you enjoy? And I think I kind of got to like Neil Colhactor, who's the comedian that was an OG comedian. He was like a Facebook content creator.
I've watched a lot of his
stuff. But he's
at
a level now. He's got 1 million followers on TikTok and he's got hundreds of thousands on Instagram. Whereas like he can be at a point where he just puts out what he finds funny and he's consistent with it, and it's gonna whatever does well. And I want to get to that point where it's like I'm not chasing numbers. I think I'm kind of am there now. It's like I don't really care if something does 10,000 views or if it does 200,000 views or 1 million views. You just have to be comfortable with putting out stuff that you find funny and hope that it does well, or there'll be an audience for it, and not get caught up in chasing numbers and stuff that blows up. Because it's a dopamine hit. Oh, this is doing really well. Let's try and create something similar. And because if it's not funny, it's not what you want to do. So you can get caught up early on in doing that. But I think I'm at a point now. Not that I'm at a successful point, but I'm just saying at a point where we're at a stage where like I don't really care what other people think about the content. If I find it funny, and I put it out and hope it does well.
Yeah.
Like I just did like a Seinfeld sketch recently. I haven't really done something like that on my page, but like I love Seinfeld. When my brothers chucked them in a sketch, we did it. Let's like see how it goes. If it does a couple thousand views, it does a couple thousand. If it does well, it does well. So
yeah, mad. And I did want to ask you this question. I don't know if it. You may have already talked about it before, but the COVID numbers predictions. Yeah. How did that happen? How did you get it right? Like for real.
I've spoken about it.
I
just kind of got to thank my parents and their genetics for creating such a bright-minded children. So we kind of got together and created the Kairouz probability theorem. And, the rest is history, I guess. Like, just gifted kids, mathematicians.
There you go. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Thanks very much, man. I appreciate it. And remember, guys, speak free with Matty G.